Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this Friday's weekly Sikh UK forum. Because it's Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Gurupurab coming up very soon, we have obviously done a talk on Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Pro-Activeness. Now you've all got a nice piece of paper in front of you. Can you just write down your thoughts on the words on guard? Just anything that comes to your mind. It could be drawings, you could draw if you want to. What word did you write?
God is one.
God is one, okay. Little brother sitting next to you?
For me, like, it's because obviously, you know, it means God. Because obviously, you know, it means God is one in it. We start at the very start of every part that we do, because we have to remind ourselves that obviously God is one. So it sort of gets you back on the level to start reflecting on what you're about to read.
That's good. Reflection is very important. Anybody come up with something different, or okay, you'll come up with this whole idea that it's oneness, right? Okay. Now here's a question. How many times do we say these words a day? Roughly. And when do you see these words? When do you see on guard in Gurbani?
At the start. Right
at the start, yeah? So we all agree that that's like the root of Gurbani, yeah? Okay, cool. Right. So Hajat is going to kindly do the seva of reading Beautiful Shabad by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. If I just point, when the Gyanaji reads the Hukamnama from the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, you can work out which Guruji actually has written the Bani, because obviously the Mahalla Bella, that means it's written by the first Guru. Okay, and there's obviously 6 of the Gurus have actually contributed to the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, so it's the first 5, so to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and then Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and then there's loads of Bhagats as well. So Harjap, can you please read the Gurbani?
The whole Shabad?
Yes, please. Ang 598.
Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji Sorat Mahalla Pahla Sarb Jiya Sir Lekh Turahu Bin Lekha Nahi Koi Jiyo Aap Lekh Qadrat Kar Dekha Hukm Chalaye Soi Jiyo Manre Ram Jab Ho Sab Hoi Ahnas Karke Charan Sarev Ho Har Data Bhagta Soi Rahao Jo Antar So Bahar Dekho अवर न दूजा कोई जियो गुरमुख एक दृष्ट कर देखो काट काट जोत समोई जियो चलता ठाक रखो कर अपना गुर मिलया एह मत होई जियो देख अदृष्ट रहो बिसमादी दुख बिसरा सुख होई जियो पीवहो अपयो परम सुख पाइया निज कर वासा होई जियो जन्म मरण भव पंजन गाया पुनरप जन्म न होई जियो तत् निरंजन जोत सबाई सो हंग भेद न कोई जियो अपरंपर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर नानक गुर मिलया सोई जियो तत् निरंजन जोत सबाई जो हंग भेद न कोई जियो अपरंपर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर नानक गुर मिलया सोई जियो वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
I'm so sorry, but the English is actually written so tiny. So, can anyone see the English? Or are you really struggling? Okay, I'll read it. Destiny preordained by the Lord looms over the heads of all beings. No one is without this preordained destiny. Only He Himself is beyond destiny. Creating the creation by His creative power, He beholds it and causes His command to be followed. O mind, chant the name of the Lord and be at peace. Day and night serve at the Guru's feet. The Lord is the giver and the enjoyer. Rahal. So in Gurbani, when Maharaj teaches us about Rahal, that means to pause and to really think about that particular Bhakti in the Gurbani. He is within. See Him outside as well. There is no one other than Him. As Gurumukh look upon all with a single eye of equality, in each and every heart the divine light is contained. Restrain your fickle mind and keep it steady within its own home. Meeting the Guru, this understanding is obtained. Seeing the unseen Lord, you shall be amazed and delighted. Forgetting your pain, you shall be at peace. Drinking in the ambrosial nectar, you shall attain the highest bliss and dwell within the home of your own self. So sing the praises of the Lord, that destroyeth the fear of birth and death, and you shall not be reincarnated again. The essence, the immaculate Lord, the light of all, I am He and He is me. There is no difference between us. The infinite transcendent Lord, the Supreme Lord God, Nanak has met with him, the Guru. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Okay, if you've got your phones, you might want to look it up on your phone, like Ang 598. I don't know how many of you actually have it on your phone, but you can access the Gurbani so you can read the English clearly. So what is Guruji's teachings about oneness in this Shabad, particularly the one that's highlighted here, which I don't think you can see. Let me just quickly bring that up. Okay, so as Gurumukh, look upon all with a single eye of equality. In each and every heart, the divine light is contained. Can you just talk amongst yourselves and think about what is Guru Nanak Dev Ji actually teaching us about oneness here? So we all said that Ek Onkar means God is one, okay? But what is Guru Nanak Dev Ji teaching us here? Yeah?
Is it Nanak is all about look at everyone as the same? We're all here for the same goal and stuff, and not to think some people are bigger than others, or some people are more than others. We all are the same.
Yeah, essentially. Who finds that quite hard to do on a daily basis, to see everyone as the same? Yeah. Actually, someone gave me an example. All of this information, by the way, was not all me. It's actually from other people. They kind of have shared this information. But an example they gave is like, say for instance, someone stepped on your toe. And you're probably thinking not very nice thoughts in your head. You're probably thinking, you nasty little person, right? But can you see then, at that moment, when you feel that much anger, pain, God in that person, even for those seconds? That's hard to do. For someone to be able to think, actually, you know what, thank you, that was really nice of you, you know, there's God in you. That's hard to be able to think at that level. So we're going to look at what Guru Nanak Dev Ji, how he actually showed us to see the oneness in anyone, literally anyone, no matter how bad their deeds were. He managed to change so many people just to getting them to understand that there's God in everyone. And that's what Guru means. Guru means to actually enlighten others that, about oneness, about God. Don't sure about that. But has anybody else come up with any other ideas, Parry?
That's it.
Like,
Exactly what you said.
what is the divine light then?
Vaheguru.
Vaheguru. Okay. So we understand that divine light is not just on God. Divine light is also obviously just understand that it's Vaheguru. Okay. Does anybody know why Guru Nanak Dev Ji and all the gurus focus on this concept of light? Why is light very important in Gurbani? Yes?
It represents light.
You get it? Baji?
Light can be translated to Jyot. The Jyot went through every guru and it was the same light. And that Jyot is broken down, and in every one of us, every single human, every single insect, animal on the earth, and that's the representation of the Jyot.
How?
When it's really dark, so like, say if you're upset and stuff, that's always represented with darkness, or anger is with darkness. And where Guruji is represented as light, Sukh, like happiness. We always go towards the light, and no matter how dark it is, even if a light that small, you can see it in the dark. Same with Guruji.
It's like
no
a
matter
way
how much how gusto or upset or how much duck you've got inside you, the light will always be there.
It's like a ray of hope. There's this a soldier from who experienced the concentration camps in Germany. It's not a soldier, sorry. He was one of the prisoners, and he was trapped in this dark room. He couldn't see anything. Then one day, this that tiny little hole, you know, the size of a pin, this tiny little hole went through the wall, and this little ray of light literally went into the darkness. You know what he gave him? He gave him hope. That bit of light gave him hope. And even Guru, the word Guru is also meaning from darkness to light. So you know when we say Vaheguru, we're saying, wow, God, you're in everyone, everything. You're in the tiniest little ant, but you're also in the biggest elephant. Okay, you're the most nastiest person, but you're also in the most kindest person. And Guru is saying for you, take me away from all this darkness, all this pain. Take me to the light. Take me to you. Yeah. So we're going to look at how can we actually accomplish this oneness. Okay, so the next slide. This is interesting. What do we do at the Gurdwara to help us understand that there is one within us all? So what do we do? So maybe when we walk into the doors of a Gurdwara, what is it that our Gurujis have put in place at the Gurdwara that have helped us, the Sangat, to understand that we should be seeing one in everybody. Can we please share that example of one example that every single one of us have done today when we come to the Gurdwara that helps us to see the one in everyone?
We're going to take our shoes and socks off. It doesn't matter if you're the queen or the England, or if you're just some guy that wants to cook for food. You're all going to do it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Okay, there's no one who's completely exempt from taking their shoes off. No matter even if you're a multi-millionaire and you own, like, I don't know, 10,000 countries, okay, not that there are 10,000 countries, I know there's only 165, okay, but you could be the person that sleeps on the streets. You both still have to take your shoes off. Now, how many of you have never really thought about that? Like, actually, we all take our shoes off. That represents oneness. Actually, they didn't realise that. Hanji?
Even Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj took their shoes off when they were going to Prakash at the Darbar. So even Maharaj took their shoes off for Shabbat. So.
Remember, our Guruji always taught through actions. Okay, whatever they did, that's what the Sangat understood through their actions. When else is there oneness taught at the Gurdwara? A really obvious one. Hanji?
The Langar Hall.
Okay, technically, where should we be sat in the Langar Hall?
On the floor.
On the floor. Why do we sit on the floor?
Everyone's at the same level.
Everyone's at the same level. Again, it doesn't matter about your status in society, it doesn't matter how wealthy or how poor you are, what clothes you're wearing, whether you're a man or woman, you're all sat on the floor at the same level. Okay? This is what we should be reinforcing at the Gurdwara. I know there are tables and chairs here in England and the USA and Australia, but if you go to, obviously, Punjab, you go to the Gurdwara there, you hardly see any tables and chairs, and everyone knows the maryada of, like, sitting on the floor. Okay, it's absolutely key that, like, Guru Nanak Dev Ji gave us that teaching to understand, look, we're all one, so let's sit as one. Okay, when else would you see examples of oneness within everyone?
The doors open, there's no one, you can never say no to someone coming to the Guru.
Amazing, yeah, you can't say, obviously, if someone's intoxicated, then it's within our duty to obviously help that person to understand. You come another day when you're not intoxicated, but there's a kind way of saying it. Two, when else? What about seva? Why would seva help us to see one in everybody? Andy?
Cleaning jewelry.
Yeah.
Because you're cleaning everyone's jewelry, including rich and poor.
You can't tell as well.
Different races.
If you're cleaning people's shoes, you can't tell if that person is rich or if he's poor, or if he's black or if he's white. You're just cleaning his jewelry.
Yeah. Can only certain people do seva?
Anyone.
Anyone. So again, you got that oneness. Everyone's entitled to do seva. But saying that, on the flip side of that, you do get some Sangat who are afraid to do seva because they're afraid to get told off of doing it wrong. I'll give you an example, like when we're washing dishes, they would love to wash the dishes, but they don't know how to do it. And they've tried once before maybe, and they got shouted at, and then, like, they don't want to get shouted at again. But in those situations, we need to ask ourselves, actually, it shouldn't stop you. It's a chance for you to learn, to ask the question, well, what is the proper way to do it? Okay, so we'll look into that in a bit more detail. Any other examples? What's the first thing, after you've taken our shoes off, we wash our hands, who do we go to see? Maharaj. Okay, even people who are non-Sikhs, like when they showed Divas last week, I saw some people from a Hindu religion coming to Divan Hall, and they were also paying their respect by bowing their head to our living Guruji. And I just think, wow, they've come all that way, actually it was from around the corner, from their mandir to our Gurdwara, okay, to pay their respect. And I mean, for someone to, like, come out their way from a different religion to actually bow their head to our Guru, that's amazing to see, very beautiful to see. But that's what they know to bow their head. We all bow our heads in the same way. No one's bowing their head higher than anyone else, but we all bow our heads in the same way. Okay? Okay, right, so what I've got for you is some nice bit of reading with some nice pictures on for those of you like Parry who likes picture books. This is actually from a children's book, by the way. I couldn't find the third image for the third story, but there's 3 sakis, so there's stories of how Guru Nanak Dev Ji teaches us about seeing one within everybody. So you've got, okay, my pronunciation might be really wrong, so you have to help me out here. Okay, you've got Satya Sudha. Yeah, so anyway. That's when Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you guys have to find out. You got the one with the cannibal, Goda, is it Goda? Hanji, yeah. And the third one, which I need to double check what the the name of, but the name of the king, he is on the piece of paper. So I'm going to give you this piece of information. You choose which story you guys want to read. Maybe one that you've not come across. You probably have come across all of them, to be fair. But I want you to write down on your pink piece of paper, because it's all about pink today. Is that ready? It doesn't have that colour. If you can write down, how did Guru Nanak Dev Ji teach us about oneness through his actions? So you see, I deliberately chose the Sakhi because not many people have actually come across it. Who wants to share what actually happens in the Sakhi? Because you're very tired of hearing my voice.
Harry.
Go on.
So there's a king called Kaur, and he's rich, he's a king, and he owns quite a lot of land. And then he used to look like he had loads of gold and silver. And there was this family. She was a widow. She never had a husband, a mother and a son, it was a son. And then they wanted I think it was a slave, so they could do all like
The housework.
Yeah, I don't know what you say, but anyways, yeah, they wanted like a girl to do their a girl or someone.
A slave, yeah.
Yeah, to do their housework and so it could be easier.
How much was she being sold for? Do you remember?
1 silver coin.
1 silver coin. Okay, so you've told my part, thank you. Right, how did they, very poor family, widow and her son, how did they manage to actually pay for the slave? Andy?
When the father died, they shoved 1 silver coin. They placed it in the bath, and then they buried him. So the brother told the son, if you really want to get this slave, you could go into the grave, dig it up and get it. And then the king found out that all these graves have silver coins in it, so he dug up all of them. He dug up all the graves and took out the silver coins because he's greedy for that.
Okay, so that's how he found it. He found out another way to get the silver, which he really wanted, okay, was to obviously dig up the dead bodies. What happened after that? What did Guru Nanak Dev Ji teach the king? What did he actually do? Don't be shy. Come on, sing it. Harry, what happened then?
Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to his kingdom,
Palace.
or his palaces, yeah, and he took, what was it? Where's he going? Took a broken earthen pots and said, and the king goes, why have you got these? He goes, I'm here to take them to the next world. And the king goes, what are you going to do with them in the next world? And he said, exactly, what are you going to do with all that gold in the next world? Because you're not going to take anything. Nanak Dev Ji says that you come in this world alone, you leave. But you come in this world empty-handed, you leave empty-handed. The only thing that stays with you is your body,
your naam.
There.
Okay, so in that particular Sakhi, how did Guru Nanak Dev Ji teach us about oneness, about seeing the divine light within everybody?
Well, firstly, you didn't approach him like angrily or anything, like because he's digging up graves and stuff. Guru Nanak Dev Ji knew about that. You still approached him that peaceful, humble aspect instead of like going up to him and being like, oh, what are you digging up graves for? So that's Guru Nanak Dev Ji seeing him as a normal human. Greedy.
Now, Kaur made a point. He said, actually, no, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is doing seva. How is that showing oneness? But remember what we said before. Seva is having oneness because you're serving the Sangha. You're serving everybody. Yeah. And what we got to remember is that Guru Nanak Dev Ji could have gone to anybody, any king, right, to help out. But he chose to help this king to understand and mend his ways, and he was able to do that. So the king changed his efforts, rectified his life. Most likely changing his destiny. Okay? What about the cannibal? Goda the cannibal. That's my favourite Sakhi actually. How does Guru Nanak Dev Ji show oneness in how does he show that you can see the divine light in everyone? How does he do that through the cannibal? Okay, what is a cannibal for starters? It's someone who eats it. Okay, put your hands up if you would ever go up to a cannibal and say you're a good person. How many of you would actually do that? No. Okay. Look. Exactly. Look at how Guru Nanak Dev Ji showed us that by approaching this kind of a Goda, he made him realize he has so much compassion to understand why he chose that life of eating people, stealing people's things, then eating them. Okay. So he showed that compassion and that obviously that daya to understand why he's chosen that life. So what we tend to do is we tend to judge why someone's chosen the life of, I don't know, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, or robbery. But what Guru Nanak Dev Ji showed Goda was like, I understand why he's chosen that path. That's what Guruji was showing Goda, and then he showed him more importantly how to mend his ways. That you don't need to, you change your ways. You're the one who changes the kind of life that you have. You don't need to keep hurting people, stealing from them, and obviously eating them afterwards. Okay. So for Guru Nanak Dev Ji to be able to see one light within a cannibal, are we able to see the light within someone who steps on our toes? We bow our heads to our Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but what are we actually taking with us from the teachings from our gurus and putting it in our daily lives? Okay, what was the second story? There was a second story by Satra Sudha. That's a very famous, very well-known story. Anyone want to quickly share what happened? There's a beautiful, beautiful picture. Okay, so who sent Guru Nanak Dev Ji away in this particular Saki? To buy some...
The father.
The father, okay. And he was with who? Who was he with? Guru Nanak Dev Ji was with? By Bala. Or some people say by Madanaji, but some, in this particular case, by Balaji. Okay, but on their way to the place where they're going to go to get products for, in order to sell for a higher price to make profit, instead of buying the products, what does Guru Nanak Dev Ji do? Hanji?
You see some people,
holy people,
holy wise men, do their bhakti, their tapasya, and they people used to donate food to them. So what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj did is, with all the money they had, they bought stuff as lumber for them, and then the main person knew that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is a very holy spiritual man, and that basically shows that it doesn't matter. That's how lumber is kind of there.
Okay. Also, the holy people, they themselves, initially Guru Nanak Dev Ji was going to give them money, but instead of having money, the holy people said that we can't go into the village to buy it ourselves. It's better if it's bought for us, if food is given to us, or clothes. So that's exactly what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did. So instead of actually thinking about the profit of the products that he wanted to, of what his father wanted, he thought about helping those instead. And his father got very angry with him. But then, as either by Madanaji or by Balaji actually intervened and said, no, actually, what he did was he helped others. We've got to look at obviously the true essence of that. So how did Guru Nanak Dev Ji see the one in these holy men? First of all, obviously you've got to look at the fact that they're from a different religion, okay? Probably praying in a completely different way than what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is used to. But how did he see one in those holy men? Andy?
Maharaj did seva by making them the food, bringing them what they need. And it's nice to do that.
So that's exactly, in terms of langar should be for everybody. And that's why langar should never be turned away from anyone. Okay, so the key thing is, we're just obviously, the gurus were amazing, okay? And they taught us so much. But as obviously, as his children, Vaiguru's children, what obstacles do we face in seeing the one in everyone and everything? What obstacles do we face? So I gave you the example of someone stepping on your toe.
Punch drawer.
Yeah, the punch drawers, okay? Does anybody know what the punch drawers are? Okay, you do know, but you're just being shy. Okay, so there's lust, anger, greed, ego, and what was the first?
Lust.
Attachment. Okay, I already said that one. Okay, so these are the 5 things, 5 thieves that distract us from seeing the one within everybody. That distract us from doing our part sometimes, or maybe from like trying to be as good person as we can be. On your piece of paper, whether it's on your AD piece of paper or on the pink paper, can you just quickly write down what are the obstacles that we face every day that stops us from kind of, or makes it hard for us to see the divine light in everyone? What kind of makes it difficult for us? Okay, so I'm just going to play this clip by Nanak now. I really highly recommend that obviously you guys obviously proactively go out there. There's so much resources for you to study online. There's a base of Sikh, there's Nanak now, there's obviously Sikh to Inspire. Obviously we've got our own clips on Sikh UK YouTube links. Definitely get out there. But this is what Baji is actually talking about when it comes to how do we experience oneness?
How do we live the experience of this oneness? We hear about the oneness, but how do we live through the experience? But then the doubt comes into the question that says, but can we do anything about it? Because isn't everything hukum? Isn't everything ultimately out of our control? The Guru always answers questions in ways that works for the state of mind that you're in. When you're in the state of the ego, the Guru says, get up and do all these things. You have to do things. You cannot, in the spiritual path, sit there and say, I'm going to do nothing, I'm going to think nothing, I'm going to meditate on nothing, and I'm going to learn nothing. Well, then you will remain where you are. If you want to see some progress in anything in life, you have to make some changes. You have to do something in order to see the results of that effort. So you do have to do all of these things, and there are so many examples that we've talked about, but ultimately it comes back to this idea of meditating through your ego. Meditating yourself out of your ego. And Naam Simran and Mantra is the way that we can break out of that. But that doesn't just come by doing Naam Simran on its own. You have to do it with the understanding that the Guru gives you. Meditation on its own, mantra on its own is not enough. You have to know the wisdom. You have to contextualize it, so the Guru gives you the understanding that says, this is what you're doing, this is the journey that you're going on, this is where it's heading, these are the roadblocks. You have to have this fuller understanding. So you have to go through all of these steps, you have to do all of this hard work in order to break free from your ego. You can't just sit there and understand the knowledge of the ego. You have to break free from that ego. But ultimately, if you at any point hold on to this idea that I can do it, then you haven't fully let go of the I. This is why Gurbani says that ultimately the final step isn't a step that needs to be taken by the I. It isn't the I that can do everything on its own, because you're trying to get away from the I. So it is all down to hukum, but that doesn't mean that you don't do anything about it. That doesn't mean that you sit back and do nothing.
Okay. What was Baisab saying about experiencing the oneness? What's kind of like mainly stopping us from seeing what divine light within everyone? The way our Guru Nanak Dev Ji showed us. Look at the Sakis that you've just read.
Ego.
Ego. Okay, what is ego essentially? What is it? He said he's used to say, yeah, I or me. Yeah. So I gave you the example about someone stepping on my toes. That's someone stepping on my toes. How dare they? Yeah. But then I think actually to get to that point where you understand, actually Maharaj blessed me with these toes. They're not my toes, feet or even. They're like, he gave me everything. And there's a reason why this has happened. So to get to that point where you understand that, oh actually maybe they were in the rush or they've done it by accident. And then instead of having that anger towards that person, try to change that anger to like having that compassion to understanding why that's happened. Hanji.
Normally what I do and what I've been taught as well is to, because when I get angry, first thing I'll do is namja, start doing simran in my head with why. And so instead of getting angry at that person for stepping on your toe or bumping into you or pulling out their car in front of you, just like say thank you to them, because they've done that to make you angry. You've turned around and started doing naam simran, so take it as a good thing that yeah, thank you, you've stepped on my toe, thank you, you bumped into me, because you've reminded me of what
Maharaj, yeah. So what Pari's saying is absolutely incredible in the respect that to get your mind to think about Nam, to recite Nam, which is worth more than 1,000 diamonds, is